Thanks, Georgia. You're a peach. Oh, why'd you do that?
Why would you write that?
And what better way to start off an educational film than by declaring your blatant racism through the magic of song?
What, no zippy theme music for the Almanac films?
Na, 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 na.
And now, the fascinating history of the off-blind and perpetually itchy dress made of hair.
Well, here we are back in a
should
cave
take
on
more
the
off
banks
top
of the
today.
Dordogne River in France, thousands of years ago. And there's plenty of hair, as you can see, on the gentleman, but no hat and no hairdo.
No
to
hat, but
speak of.
fog hat.
That hair is really interfering with his business.
His
Nearby,
business of
the
hitting
cave
things
woman,
with
his
other
wife, is
things.
grilling a
If they
fish
can't
over
figure
an
out
open
how to
fire.
increase their revenue in the next fiscal year,
Now,
they'll
the
lose the
caveman is
cave.
very
Oh, no.
plainly bothered by that hair that is growing so plentifully on his head in all directions. Suddenly he looks over toward the fireplace and he sees the surviving backbone of a fish.
Surviving
that has been
backbone?
eaten.
It looks pretty dead to
And it
me.
gives him an idea.
No.
Mug.
No.
What are you doing?
No.
Why are you picking that up?
You don't know where that's
no.
been.
Stop breaking that.
No.
Put
You
that
don't need
down.
to- no.
You know,
And
somewhere a Geico
some such
caveman is just
original
crying
discovery must
profusely
have
and
been
throwing
made.
a beer can at the
Now see
television.
what he does with the backbone of that fish.
Don't do it.
Puts up his hair as best he can and uses the backbone or part of it as a side comb to hold it in place.
Feel
Let's
beautiful.
imagine at least that that was the first hairdo. Now
Let's
we
also
flip
imagine
forward
that
a
our
few
narrator
thousand
knows what
years
he's
to the
talking
time
about.
Of the Babylonians.
Whoa,
In the Near
like
East.
Babylon 5? I
See what
love
kind of
that
hairdos
show.
they had. Well, they not only
Actual
curled their hair,
depiction
but
of a
they curled their
Babylonian
beards,
handing out
too.
the
It was
pimpan.
a religious rite with them. Now we go over to the land of the Egyptians about
Fine,
2,500
fine.
years
Do
BC,
it
and
once.
notice a change. They shaved their heads completely, and they shaved their beards too. But they wore
Happy
an
now.
artificial beard made out of wood or horn or some such material.
Egypt, home of
And the women,
Rastafarianism.
too, shaved their heads
My
and wore wigs.
milkshake
Now, of course,
brings
we're
all the
talking about
boys to the
the
yard,
aristocracy,
and they're like,
the noble people
"It's
and
better
the rulers
than
of those days, not the poor
yours.
people.
Damn
There's the
right,
Egyptian woman
it's
with
better
a kind
than
of
yours. I
imitation
could
hair
teach
or
you,
wig,
but I'd
worn
have
by
to
the high-born ladies of those days.
Amen.
Another thing about the Egyptian women of those days was that the higher the headdress they wore, the more noble their blood was supposed to be. So you can see
Kinda like
there was
the
quite
higher a girl
some
wears a
competition
ponytail, the
among the
easier
ladies
she
in a
is.
vertical
Yeah.
way.
To come up with these designs, they'd have to be really high.
Really getting high in some of these.
This headdress was quite
Another
popular
peculiar
among
thing
practicing
was
archers.
that when the
Jimmy,
princesses or queens,
Jimmy, honey, smile.
acted in
Jimmy,
an official
Jimmy,
way,
honey,
they
smile.
too
Grandma
wore
and
an
Grandpa are
imitation
gonna see
beard on
this.
their
Jimmy,
chin.
smile.
Now we're coming forward to the Grecian days. And of course, we
Can't
know
wait
all
till they
about
invent
these from
indoor plumbing,
drawings and
or at
paintings
least
of the
a
old days
better
and
bedpan
written
redesign.
descriptions. And many of these pieces, by the way, are actual survivals of those periods and have been preserved in antique shops and in
Antique
museums.
shops? I haven't seen
This
any
is the Greek
Grecian
style.
artifacts when I've gone antiquing.
You go antiquing?
With my grandma. The inspiration for H.R. Giger's A-Log.
Hey, fellas, who likes it big in the back nine? Yeah.
Of course, at all ages, a scarf
She's both
was
a
often
white
used
and
as
black
a covering
mage.
for the hair, with or without a hat on top of that. Now we're coming forward to the Roman days. There is a
Strange
Roman
place to put a
painting,
tramp
and
stamp,
peculiar
Bill.
place for it. It's on the bald sconce of a Roman. And here we have one of
Lily
the
Munster.
Roman ladies of the court of Augustus Caesar. And this is the kind of
One that
wig
has apparently
she
had a
wore.
run-in with a fencer.
Yeah, it looks like that lady's hair from Mouse
Very
Hunt.
dark wig. Now she sees her handmaiden there with a very blonde head of hair and plentiful,
soft,
and she
supple
decides
breasts.
to change her mind and get a blonde wig. Whereupon the poor
Don't worry,
handmaiden
dear.
has
Your new
her hair
hairdo will
cut
be in
off and
style
made into a
in the
wig
80s.
for the patrician Roman lady. Here we see her now with a blonde
Doesn't your
wig.
hair look better on me? Be honest. Well, not too honest.
People in Georgia watching this, what do you
Well,
think
we'll
about
step
a
forward
white
about
woman
1,000
being a
years
slave
into the
for a
beginning of
white
the
woman?
medieval
Huh?
period.
Huh?
And this is the way the high-born young lady wore her hair then, in long ringlets, when knighthood wasn't flower.
That's an ugly flower.
Of course, when she got married, she wasn't allowed any such frivolous decoration. Had to put her hair up in braids.
Yeah, that's not frivolous at all. She looks like a bad cosplay of a Twi'lek.
Of course, the braids may not be quite as long as the covering would indicate.
Now, Adam, I don't know if you know this, but Twi'lek's head tails can detach as a defense mechanism against predators.
Oh, really? Like a lizard?
Yeah.
Cool.
Heidi, many, many, many years later. Van Gogh's sister.
Just another example of the scarf wrapped around. This young lady does not have a toothache or an earache. She is just increasing the wrapping around her
She's
hair.
got a Jiffy Pop head, and she's about ready.
Exaggerated fashion.
Assassin chef.
More and more of the face and hair were concealed until we got
And here
to
is
this
the
type,
Flying
which
Nun,
became
also known as
popular
Parachute
in
Head.
Brittany, in France, hundreds of years ago.
Man, witches had weird
And then we
erections.
had also in medieval days a sort of dunce cap idea. And once an idea was formed,
That must be the
why
Devil
they
Woman
carried
that
it
Ronnie
out
James
to the
Dio is always
extreme.
singing
So here
about.
we have the double dunce cap. And
Oh,
even further,
she's
the
in the
triple
Pope
and
fan
quadruple
club. Awesome.
Dunce cap idea.
I just think her hat exploded.
It might have.
And of course, further decorations were added.
Further decorations, they just walked under someone's clothesline again.
Their trying on hats montage went on horribly wrong, or horribly right.
Now we come to what I call the antler type of hat. Like the spread of antlers of a water buffalo or some African gazelle.
I don't want to be a water buffalo. I don't want to be an African gazelle.
Do 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 do. Na 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 na. Katamari damashi. Na 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 na. Katamari damashi.
Only for high-born ladies, of course. And then, of course, the men weren't going to be completely left out.
Tor Johnson in
With
Camelot.
a tall vertical hat.
ladies,
And
it's
just
me,
in case
Tor
of a
Johnson.
change in the
I'm
weather,
on the
notice that he has a
Check out
different
my
type of
backhand.
hat slung
Sexy
over his
rat.
back. Well, we're coming down through the ages a little bit, but not making much progress in the millinery department.
Excuse me, have you seen the Altine Carnival around here? I'm dreadfully lost, you see. I'm French, you see.
Now this is on the neat side.
Her Majesty's
but that
Royal
hairnet
Lunch
is
Lady.
studded with precious jewels.
be
In
served
this
the
case,
royal
it's the
meatloaf.
first cost and not the upkeep.
The royal marriage.
Yes.
Ooh,
we have
Fiesta
what
hat.
is
Must be
often
Taco
called
Salad
Holbein
Tuesday.
type
Yay!
hat,
Taco Salad
Peter,
Tuesday.
Gave us many canvases with models wearing that
Hey, look,
kind
it's a
of
Mexican
picture hat.
Ron Jeremy.
But Franz Hals and other famous painters
Exactly.
also gave us their studio portraits with the same
It's
type of,
Nostradamus.
millinery decoration.
This
It's
is
quite a
the
different
best
type. The
murder.
hat is small, but the beard more than makes up for it.
All right. Who farted?
Now this is really
Hey,
neat.
hey, lady.
I say I'm no
She who
judge
smelled
of
it dealt it.
ladies'
Don't look
hats,
at me.
but this is a
Just
type
keep on
I
looking.
like anyhow.
That's right.
It'll be good in a high wind. Notice that the ruff is now coming in around the neck there. That would be around 1550, 1600.
And support disembodied
Just
heads.
imagine all the handwork that went into the ironing of a ruff of that type. Many of the pictures by Van Dyck feature these ruffs.
Boy, I say, boy, help me lick my stitches.
The Marge Simpson era.
Here we're going into the vertical decoration again. You notice how it switches from the horizontal to the vertical and back
Ew.
again. High, low.
Cleavage. I mean hairstyles.
Oh, and also we are coming
Hey,
into
is
the
that the
corset
owl from Clash
era,
of the
and
Titans?
some of those old days, they actually wore iron corsets. Of course, the whaling captains soon relieved the iron of its duty by bringing in the whalebone.
Captains often
This is
brag
just
about
a simple
bringing
country
in the
costume. I'm glad to say
whalebone.
They've relaxed on that iron stuff. And
Why
here
do
we have
all
a
these
lace bodice
flowers smell like
and a straw
onions?
hat.
Oh my god.
Now we're coming into the 17th and 18th century.
I can decide which hairstyle I want,
This
so I
is
just
a
went with
model
all of them. Whoa!
painting by Van Dyck. And so I haven't time to go on down to
Planet
modern
Earth?
days, but as far as we've gone, I leave
John's
it up to
lost.
you to know whether or not we've made
Hold
much
in, fellas.
progress
John's
in
lost.
hairdos and costumes and hats.
Look back to the beginning. It's like a Tarantino film.
Oh no.
Fiend.
I'm strong like the Hulk.
It was fun as a passing joke, but now that we're passing, we think about it, it's like it's not
we're
that fun.